Right, catch-up time and focusing on just one event. Same as always, the what do they call it now? The Daiwa Tunnel Barn Masters, isn't it? Yeah, sponsored by Daiwa, ran by Tunnel Barn, Catchmore Media, Tom Scully's brand. I'm going to say it's my favourite event of the year, every single year. It's just mega. Proper look forward to it. It's probably the event as well, big finals included, that I put more time and effort into than anything else in terms of prep. I mean, massive amount of prep goes into it in Tunnel. Lots and lots of money is spent on bait and various other things. It's mega. Because what's on offer there, the money there is ridiculous. And prizes as well that we'll come into in a bit. So, anyway, same as always, we had, I'm going to say 125 on this year. I'm sure Thomas said there was 125 on, something like that, 120 something. Really, really good. Lots of room. Everyone's got plenty of room, so you're not worried about being crammed in. And it was looking good for really good sport. Weather a little bit toasty. I mean, the weather's been, well, you've all been there, you've seen what it's like. It's all really warm, 28 degrees pretty much every day. Not a lot of wind, bright sunshine, which may have made things a bit detrimental, but it seemed to be all right. It was holding up, and it did. You know what I mean? Ultimately, it did. A couple of lakes went a bit tricky, but it was brilliant and phenomenal, but we'll come on to all that at the end. For myself, first day, drew the weirdest peg I've ever drew at Tunnel Barn. I drew peg 5 on house pool, which I've never seen it in. It's a random one, but I wasn't unhappy. I mean, generally on house pool it is 2, 4, 6. That's normally how in fact, yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Because of the numbers on there, they had to miss one. So I think it was 2 and 3. 2 and 3, 5, 6, then 8, then went to even numbers just to accommodate the numbers, so it's first sections on the lake. And peg 5's a weird one. It's next to peg 6, obviously, which is mega. Peg 6, really, really good peg at Tunnel. But 5's good as well, really, really good. In that it's not quite in the gap in between two islands. It's just sort of set with just an island in front of you with a point just to your right that's not quite your peg. It's in peg 6, but still good with lots of cover. I was happy. Yeah, my issue for the day was I had Kieran Marsden on peg 6, who is very, 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 very good when it comes to F1 shallow fishing. Kieran actually travels with Christian Jones. You know what I mean? When it comes to modern day shallow F1 fishing, they're a bit handy at that lark. So I knew if it was that type of match, I couldn't win. There was no way I was going to beat Kieran if it came to an F1 shallow match because of his ability and his peg. I mean, it ain't my favourite way of fishing, wobbling pole rigs and feeding casters, but them lads took it to a new level, and I knew that's how he'd fish. And I felt he'd come my way. The way it looked, I thought, oh, Kieran will go there. So I wanted to fish my own match. So what I've done, I've spent a long time with me trusty Lee Murphy weed cutters. I've been there whacking away at the island, making myself a nice little area, and it looked phenomenal. I mean, I was able to get right back to the mud. I pretty much had this sort of depth at about 14, 16 inches, tight to the mud, in some shade, with cover. It looked brilliant. And I thought, right, I can fish how I want to fish. I mean, my style of match, what I want to do, I want to fish on that mud with maybe ground bait and maggots or hard pellets down a little bit, and I can fish for carp. I mean, that area sort of is on the edge of the carp area. All the carp live in the bowl at the back, sort of opposite peg 6, in the main volume of the lake, if you like. And I thought, if I can drag some of them in and they keep visiting, I can beat them with a carp match if the carp were willing to feed. And they were everywhere. So a lot of carp about at the start of the match. And yeah, that was the plan. I mean, I had some other lines. I set up some casters to my left towards a bit of vegetation I had there, but that was in a channel, so I didn't fancy that. Me 2 edges, and I never set up a rig anywhere else. There was no point. There were no fish. All 3 pegs that I've drawn throughout the week, there's no fish in the middle in the deeper water. I've got nothing. Everything's been about edges or across, in shallow water. That's where you want to be. So, fish me match. Started off all right, ticked over, cut some bites on pellets tight, but started getting problems immediately. I had a bit of a snag in my peg. In that it must have been this sort of far, so I'm fishing right against the far bank, and this sort of far off, it'll be nothing. It'll be a little branch or something under the water that he kept going under, and my rig kept getting caught on it, and it was just causing so many problems. I was losing loads of hook lengths, loads of rigs. It was just a pain. And in hindsight, I should have binned it. I should have just forgot about it, come off, and I should have just rattled casters into those reeds to my right, because I couldn't catch to my left for some reason. Felt like there were no fit. In fact, there were very few fish to my left. Those lads really struggled. But I should have just fished casters to my right. Definitely. And settled for second. At this point, Kieran's catching 1 a chuck. I mean, an hour, I think halfway through, I'm sure Kieran had £100, I think he said. And he did, definitely. 2.5 hours in, he's got £100 of fish all on casters against this reed bed towards the other island. And I'm thinking, there's no way I can win my section. And I should have just tried to come second, but I didn't. And it's a stupid, stupid way. But it's the mentality I always want to have in their matches, is that I want to win. I'm not interested in coming second for whatever. You know what I mean? There's mega money, brilliant. I want to win. More than anything, that's all I'm there for, is to win the event. And it's sort of gone, and I knew it, and my head had gone down, and I went lazy, and it cost me big time. Like, really, really cost me big time. I ended up skipping about, getting an odd bite, losing more rigs, just never ever catching. And I will write down on first day. I think I was fifth in section. I was fifth out of 6 or 7. I think I beat 1 or 2. Just instant game over. So with the event, you have 6 or 7 peg sections. So because it is that, if you lose your section any day, you are not going to win. It's always going to be a 3-pointer. I mean, you're going to need 3 section wins to win. So straight away, it had gone. Kieran had absolutely paralysed it. He'd ended up with £196. That was actually second best weight of the week, but we'll come on to that in a minute. And yeah, game over for me. Instant game over in every way. That 5 points in hindsight was already not enough to frame. I mean, I think 5 points was the last to get in. 3 foot, it was. 5 points actually got in. So straight away, no way of framing. It's all over. All I'm there to do is potentially win the match. And I felt that Kieran had spoilt that a little bit by catching such a big weight. I never thought there was a £200 peg at Tunnel to beat that, because Tom Pay's biggest weight of the week as well throughout the 3 days. And then this year it was a prize, it was a pole. It was the new Arity Pro pole. You actually won ridiculous prize for catching the biggest weight. And I felt that was out of reach as well. So it was a right disappointment. But still, you're there, you've got to make the numbers up sometimes, you've got to play the game. So next day, I drew a very good or very steady section peg. I drew peg 4 on Newpool, which Sam Slockett had won the section off the day before. He'd had £88, 80 something pound he'd won that section with. But Newpool had been a bit tricky, I think. I don't know who won the section the first day on it. I don't know who won the lake, sorry, on the first day. Sam might have won the lake. No, I think there was a 90, I don't know, but it was, I don't think there was £100 the first day. Newpool is always the lower weight lake. I mean, probably the fairest, but the lowest weight lake. And the second day's always notoriously hard. I've been on there a few times on the second day, and it were horrendous, to be fair. It fished really, really hard. It was just hot, sticky, just not nice to fish in sort of weather. And the fish weren't happy, they didn't want to feed at all. So I've had a really scratchy, if I'm completely honest, lazy day. Again, give up, just through not being able to make anything happen, struggling for bites. I wasn't proactive enough to keep fishing the net, and I should have been. There was an option of catching skimmers and an odd stocky, and I didn't take it. I was lazy, I tried to be selective instead, and hindsight was never going to catch on that. I should have won the section that day. So I didn't. Gus won the section on peg 14, maybe 13, 14, 15, one of them over the other side. I think he had £44. Big Davey on peg 1, he beat me by a couple of pounds. I was third in section that day. Again, standard for my performance, if anything, but 100% that was down to my poor decisions and fishing badly. I mean, should have come second. I should have won my section that day. That's what I should have been there for. To still try save face sort of thing, but no, that didn't go my way. That one, 38 or 36 pound, 37 pound there, 37 pound and 39 and 43. Should have won that one. Anyway, on to the last day. 0 chance of winning now. I've got more points than flipping whoever. Horrendous. Never ever got a chance. I've drawn 38 on Newpool, which I really did want to go home, if I'm honest. But again, you can't. You've got to play the game. Jordan had won the lake off my peg on the practice match with £100. So I thought, right, I can have a nice day's fishing there. I'll just set up basics and go through the motions. And that's what I did. I mean, but the issue I had on the last day was I've drawn 38, which is, it's really bad, to be fair. It's not a good area in Newpool. And in the best area on my section, I had Jimmy Brooks on 44 and then Andy Power. If you've heard of him, he's won the odd thing now and again, Andy has. He's on 31, which is the 2 best areas of the lake as a rule, and they paralysed me. You know, Jimmy's absolutely walked it. He's had £114 of muggers. Caught some carp, Jimmy. I don't know how Andy scored, but Andy's had 70 something pounds as well, £78. So they've absolutely walked that. It was the most sensible match I fished all week. In that I fished worms, I dobbed a few, and I caught a few in the edge on micros and ground bait. But I only ended up with £54 for, again, 3rd or 4th in the section. Utter waste of time. So for me, the Masters was a write-off. I mean, luckily my good friend Matthew Dawes pulled me out a little bit and he framed and won me a few quid that paid for the event, but every now and again you've got to make the numbers up, and due to poor decisions, more than anything else, definitely fishing incorrect matches and not trying hard enough. Yeah, in that arena with the standard of angling you've got, it is flipping ridiculous. You get punished if someone goes on a good peg and you don't try hard enough, or even if someone's on an average peg, they're going to beat you through just better decisions and trying harder, because there's that higher quality of angling at that event. And it showed. You know what I mean? The results, no surprise with the top of the gang, the top 15 or whatever, all ridiculous anglings. Christian Jones has won it. He's probably, that style of fishing, how the event was, I mean, lots and lots of castery, shallowy, clever F1 fishing, he's the best at that. I mean, he is without doubt the best at that style of fishing, and he's won. Fair play. He's drawn lovely. He hasn't even drawn lovely, I'm not even going to say that. He's drawn very standard pegs all day, in fact. Yeah, he hasn't had a flyer, Chris. And he's done the right match due to fishing the right match every single day. He's got job done. Jamie Payne was second, again, 3 wins. All the top 3 had 3 wins. Christian, Jamie Payne, Andy Christie, all 3 had 3 wins, which I think it's the same as last year. I think there were 3 or 4 last year, so it's the same. As I said, you need that 3 wins to stand a chance. They've all done really, really well. None of them, thinking about it, drew an absolute flyer. So they've done really, 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 really well. And yeah, the usual top 15 was the top 15 that you can pretty much name when it comes to commercial and F1 anglers. And the biggest weight of the week for that Arity Pro Pole that we were on about, that was Danny Grimsey, snuck it, and couldn't believe that happened. I thought Kieran was done. I mean, the first day I'd said to Kieran, I think that's yours, mate. But Danny Grimsey on the second day has beat Kieran by a pound. He's had £197 off 23 Canal, which was that was a flyer, that one. That was a bit of a special peg, that one. But he's won that. So you can see with what's got to pay out, the amount of money that the lads have won. Christian's also won an Air Z Pro, is that what the posh one is? It's the posh, the bestest Daiwa pole. Daiwa throw one of them in as well. I mean, the support for that event is ridiculous, along with mystery pairs and all sorts on the last day. I think they pay out something like 20,000 quid. It's phenomenal, and immediately I booked on as well. I'm straight on it again for next year, because despite having a horrible time, it's not about that. It's a lovely event where everyone's dead happy. It's just a nice place to be. I mean, other than the weather this year that definitely wasn't any good for fat people or ginger kids, it was just a phenomenal event. Lovely to be there, and yeah, can't wait for next year. So yes, unfortunately not quite the exciting story to tell that we had last year. Now and again, you do have to bend over and take it, and this year was my turn. So yeah, we'll try again next year. Fingers crossed, do a bit better.
Okay then, you lovely lot, just a real quick one just to let you know that Western Pools is our next group coaching day on the 27th of July. So it's sure to be a great one. We just had a match there at the weekend, and it's fishing. It's absolute what's it's off. So who's there? So obviously myself's there, Des Ship, Mikey Williams and Adam Richards. Obviously bar involved, so I can't say there'll be any alcohol involved. Oh yes, there'll be alcohol involved after. So get yourselves booked on, folks. www.winningways.shop. Did I get it right, Rich? He's got it right. Yeah, go and get your tickets and we'll hopefully see you there, and then in the bar after. Yeah!